how can I make two sounds or more blend and sit nicely together in a mix? Uh, the guitar and synth, because it seems like right now they come from two completely different worlds. And this is something that Gabe Herman talks about in our Mixing Essentials course that's available to our members. Reverb is one way to do that, but also thinking about dynamic range is another way to do that, especially if you're using a synth, because a synth doesn't really happen in the real world. Um, it, it's an electronically generated signal, and if you don't run it through acoustic spaces, it's not going to have the impacts that acoustic, uh, I guess, like if you put a microphone on a guitar amp, it goes through a room and it goes through a physical device, and that changes the sound. But a synth, if it's electronically generated, it's not going to have those effects. So then when you put those two things together, they can potentially sound like they just don't go together. So again, reverb is a good way to put things in a room. Also thinking about delay, pre-delay, adding dimension and indicating to the listener how big the room is. This is stuff that you can find on YouTube, but in the Mixing Essentials course, we go through EQ, compression, delay, and reverb and automation. And so if you're interested in learning more, you can scan that QR code. But before I let you go on this question, I think another important consideration in addition to reverb and compression is that acoustic and just like the real quality of it. So one way you could maybe accomplish the dynamic quality and the acoustical quality is by running that synth through a speaker and then recording it. So that would be something I would recommend. If you recorded the guitar amplifier in a room, maybe run your synth through the guitar amplifier, making sure you don't break it, and see if you can make that virtual sounding synth into a real sounding instrument. Just something to think about. It doesn't even have to just be a guitar amp. I just figured you'd had one of those with you. If you do choose to use a guitar amp, what you'd want to do is send your interface out through a reamp box and then take that into the guitar amp. Let me pull up a video here that's going to walk you through this. I go through 3 examples in this one. I'll call this guitar effects, and I'll paste a video here. So if you look in the comments below the video, you'll find this link. And in there, I talk about 3 different use cases for a reamp box and how you can use your guitar gear to make your other instruments sound good. One of them, I think, was a distortion effect. One of the examples was a chorus effect. And then one of the examples at the end is where I actually take a snare drum, I record it with a regular mic, and then I run that signal out through a guitar amp into the snare drum. So I put the snare drum in front of the guitar amp. So the pressure from the speaker of the guitar amp excites the snare on the snare drum itself, and that allows you to fix things after the fact and fine tune the snare tension and all of that. But in your case with the synth, maybe you experiment with running the synth signal out through your guitar amp using a reamp box and then recording that. Maybe that makes it a little bit more dynamically controlled due to the compression that exists or that occurs within the guitar amp circuitry and speaker. And maybe it adds a little bit of realism because you're now in a physical acoustic space. And the coolest thing about doing that, even if you use just like a studio monitor, there's no preset in the world that can mimic that because you are in your space, which is entirely unique, and no AI can do it. No preset can do it. It's entirely unique to your room. So it's just a cool way to mix in a way that is different from what everyone else is out there doing.